everyone, it is midnight on July 20th, and so this is the first day of the reading rush. I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done today because I'm going to go to sleep soon because I have work in the morning, and so I don't know how much after I get back I'm going to be able to read, but the first book I'm going to read is The Mummy by Max Allan Collins. It's pretty short, and I loved the movie, so I'm sure I'm going to love this book, and so hopefully I can knock off maybe 50 pages before I go to sleep. It's 1 a.m. on the 21st, and I'm doing really bad. I had work today, and so by the time I got home and took a shower, and I just wanted to rest, so I've been really bad at reading. I did get the audiobook for Lock Every Door, so I was listening to that while at my job, and I'm on page 98, chapter 13. So far I really like it, so that helps. I'm only on like page 28 in The Mummy. Really bad. This is not a good start, but I've watched this movie, The Mummy and The Mummy Returns and all that, so many times. I love this movie, and I thought it took place in maybe like the 70s or something like that, 80s, I don't know. Didn't really think about it, didn't really pay attention to the time period, but I open it, and it says The Mummy Returns, which is not like the movie, but yeah, it says 1925, so this is when Rick O'Connell, I'm assuming in the movie, like I'm thinking about the movie, he first goes to Hamunaptra, and then he gets caught. So it says 1925, and then I was like, no, that can't be right. What? So then I checked Google and was like, when did it take place? What's the time period? It said 1933. That's when like him and Evie meet, and I'm like, oh my god. And then I'm like thinking about the movie. I'm like, they weren't like olden clothing and like the weapons, and so I'm like, I mean, it makes sense, but I just never really thought of it. I feel stupid, man. Now I'm gonna have to rewatch the movie in a whole different light and see if they actually mention the time period. Because I don't remember if they did, but they could have. Anyway, I'm gonna read for like an hour and go to bed. It's day 2 of the reading rush, and it's like 11 p.m. and I am failing miserably. I haven't even finished my first book. I have like 100 pages left of it. I just am on a reading slump, and I just gotta push forward, and I'm so scared that I won't get to finish it, especially at the end. I'm going camping with my boyfriend's family, and I don't know how much reading I will get done then. I'm hoping, since they probably will go to bed early, I'll stay up and just be by myself and read, and that's when I can get my reading done, but gotta freaking push through and read. So far I like the book. I'm learning a lot that I didn't know, besides that it took place in the 30s. Did not know that, but also Evie's father was on the expedition where they uncovered King Tut, and her parents died in a plane crash, which I knew they died. I don't know if I knew exactly it was a plane crash, but everyone thinks it's because of the curse of, King Tut, since they uncovered it and stuff, but, Evie doesn't believe in that. I'm sure she will now, after everything that happens. It's exactly like the movie, but you get a little bit more details, which I like. It is July 22nd. It's the 3rd day at 2 p.m. and I finally finished my first book. I am so behind, but I got one done, so I'm happy. I really like the book. I am going to give it a 3-star rating because it's so much like the movie, which is based off the screenplay, so makes sense. I will have to rewatch the movie because I learned so much more about it. And so now I kind of want to watch it and pay attention to the things that I missed. So I think that my next book is going to be the V.C. Andrews books, Star. It's very short, so I know I can finish it today. We just had like a freak storm right now. It just lasted like 10 minutes. It was pouring out, and it was like big chunks of hail, and our power went out, but now it's sunny. Very strange. I didn't think to film it until afterwards because my dog Ripley was so scared. She came running up to me and was shaking, so I was just trying to comfort her. You were scared, huh, Ripley? Yeah, you don't like the hail and the rain. Yeah, it was scary. Yeah, it's over now. Yeah. It is day 4, and I've only read 2 books. I'm awful at this. I'm really scared that I won't be able to finish it. I finished Star last night. It was okay. I think I'm gonna give it like a 2.5 star rating. I just couldn't get into the characters. Like, I just didn't care. Like, she went through something horrible. I didn't connect with her. If you can hear my dog in the background, he's being a little baby. He's not being tortured or anything. It's just little, his dad's not home. He's at work, and this is what happens when his dad goes to work. He cries because he misses him. The 2 books I'm reading today, hopefully, is the Witchcraft Hysteria of 1692. It's like 60 pages. If I don't finish this in like the beginning, I'm never going to read any of the books. Like, come on. And then I'm going to attempt to start reading Bloody Business, an Anecdotal History of Scotland Yard. I'm excited about this one because it's true crime, and I like true crime a lot. And so one of the things is to match your outfit to the books you're reading. And I'm wearing Harry Potter's Deathly Hallows in all black. This is black. And this is Witchcraft. Harry Potter's Witchcraft. Didn't plan it, but I looked down and I was like, oh my god, it works. So each day, you know, I wake up and then I feed the animals, and not just the cats and the dogs I have. I feed the chipmunks and the deer. So I put these out for the chipmunks and the deer. Well, these for the chipmunks. I have deer corn that I usually put out at night, and I set up a trail camera so I have some great footage from that. I'll insert some pictures from the trail camera. And then I usually go down the lower field, pick up the empty pan and bring it up here. It's very tiring because my property is very big, so I walk all around. So that's usually my day in the beginning before I start to read. A couple of years ago, I did go to Salem with my friends for Halloween, and we did learn about, you know, the Salem witch trials, but it's just so horrible. Like, you know, reading it's like 400 people underwent the horror of being accused of practicing witchcraft, and then 19 were hanged, and then an old man who refused to enter a plea at his trial was pressed to death as the sheriff and his men piled weights on him to force him to do so. That's just, oh, so sad and scary. Among those 19 hanged and the old man crushed, it says at least 3 women died as a result of overcrowded and unhealthy conditions to which they were subject in prison. And then it says, while the number of those who died at later time who suffered mental or emotional breakdown as a result of their ordeals will probably never be known. There was a 4-year-old girl in prison, like what the frick? And then several pregnant women, a lot of elderly. It's like, yeah, I'm sure they probably suffered like mental ordeals later, because it's like, imagine being 4 and being forced in prison and overcrowding and then seeing people die around you and then elderly and pregnant. It's like, yeah, they probably died later on because it's 1692, so it's like they didn't have mental health or even just health to help them. Like, I understand it must be scary to live in a time where it's like, okay, everyone believed in like witchcraft and then believing that they are horrible and not knowing who it is, but how they handled it was awful. They could just be like, oh, I hate my neighbor, I'm just going to accuse them of witchcraft. And there is not much to prove, because how can you prove that? How can you prove that someone's not a witch? I know they had their ways, but it's like, here's something I really didn't know. You know, you always hear about the Salem witch trials in Massachusetts, and always like that's the example of like witchcraft and, you know, like burning witches at the stake. But it says more than 500 condemned witches were burned to death in Geneva, Switzerland in 1515, and 975 were put to death in Italy in 1524. During the 2 centuries of horror in Germany, 100,000 persons accused of the crime were executed. While the totals in France and Spain were so frantically high that no attempt at gaining an official tally has ever been successful. And it says, to credit the Massachusetts colonists, it should be noted that their hysteria abated almost as quickly as it began, in contrast to Europe, where witch hunts were still being conducted well into the 18th century. Like, those were greater, like, suffering than in Massachusetts and Salem, I guess, because, you know, we learn about America history, you know, not other history. Those were greater, you know, atrocities. And so it's just strange that, like, Salem witch trials are the most, like, famous here. I mean, I don't know how in other countries it is, but, like, it's always like Salem, Massachusetts, I guess, because it's like we're very American focused. But that's strange. I never knew that. So the first execution of a witch didn't happen in Massachusetts, it happened in Connecticut. But the first one that happened in Massachusetts was Margaret Jones. And it's so sad because she was a known healer. Like, she knows herbal medicine and she would heal the town. But I guess when the hysteria happened, they blamed her for being, like, they accused her of being a witch, which is sad because, you know, she helped so many people and they were fine with her before. They knew, like, oh, she does herbal medications and all this, but now it's like the hysteria happened and, like, she's a witch, and so they executed her. I'm on page 32 of this book, and it's really good. I'm learning a lot. It's just so sad because you're learning about, like, certain people and how they were accused and what happened and what went down, and it's just so sad because it's like they were real people and they didn't deserve to be, you know, hung or however tortured, you know. But I'm going to take a break from reading this book. I have to do laundry and clean the house and do a lot of things, but while doing so, I'm going to read the audiobook for Lock Every Door. It's so good so far, and this way I can still get work done around the house and read at the same time. So that's what I'll be doing, hopefully, and then later pick this up and the other books. It is 8:30 on the 23rd, and I just finished this book. And so I really like this book. I want to read more about the Salem witch trials and everything. So I just tried to pick up this book, and I just can't get into it. So I don't want to force myself to read this, because in such a short time I won't be able to. And so I'm switching books. I usually don't switch books during the readathon, but I'm switching it now. And this one was for reading a book that's not in the same content as you. And so I have to choose. I found something else. I chose About a Boy by Nick Hornby. So it's based in London, different continent than me. So this is the book I'm going to read instead. I also did a lot of chores today, and while doing so, I listened to the audiobook of Lock Every Door. So I'm on page 193 of this. I'm almost done. It says about 4 hours left in the audiobook. I'm really liking it so far. I just want to know what happens, because Riley Sager's books usually have like then and like and now kind of thing. So it says like 4 days ago, and then it's like, and then but you don't know what's happening now. It's like she's in the hospital and she's gotten away from the place she's at, but you don't know what exactly went down. Why did she need to escape and all that? And so you're just reading to find that out, for everything to like come together. And it's really hard for me because I just want to know. So it's like, I just want to know. I don't skip to the back or anything, even though I'm always so tempted. But I follow through to reading it. So I do like those types of books because I get really sucked into them. and I read them faster because I gotta know, but I'm also like, don't like them because I get so anxious to know what happens. So far, I'm only on page 8, and I hate the character Will. Like, he brags about sleeping with women he doesn't know and making money and just like being basically a sleaze. And then his best friend just had a baby, and he didn't want to see his best friend for weeks because he didn't want to talk about the baby. And then they asked how he was, and they were like, oh, tired. And they're like, oh, what's happening? She's like, I just had a baby. Oh, all right. He didn't want to talk about a baby. It's like, oh my God. Your best friend had a baby, and it's only been a couple of weeks. Of course he's going to talk about the baby. That's an important part of his life. I know he gets better, I think, at the end, because he meets the boy and then, like, grows as a person. I've seen parts of the movie, but not like the ending or anything, so I don't really know. But I think he gets better. So, can't wait till that happens because he's such a jerk. Poor Marcus, he gets bullied by students and he also gets bullied by a teacher. That's an awful teacher. What a bitch. They were making fun of Marcus and calling him crazy, and she's like, and she laughed with it. And was just like, oh, besides Marcus, what else? It's like, no, bitch. You should stop the bullying, not join in. Like, oh my God. Teachers that are awful like this just make me so angry. It's bad enough when, you go to school and you're being bullied. Teachers should protect you. They shouldn't join in. It is 1 a.m. on the 24th, and I just finished Lock Every Door. I listened to the audiobook, and I really liked it. I gave it a 4-star rating. Like, once you think you kind of figured things out, nope, it wasn't what I thought, and I really liked it. So if you like mystery thriller novels, I recommend this book. Now I think I'll read this about a boy for like an hour, and then I'll go to sleep. My sleep schedule is all messed up, but hopefully I can get a lot done in the hour. I doubt it, but hopefully. It's 3:30 on the 24th, and I'm on page 98 of About a Boy. Will is just sleazy. He is pretending to have a son to pick up chicks at a single parents meeting. And I will say, trigger warning on suicide. The one mother tried to commit suicide, and then her son tries to fix her up with Will, and they're on like a date, non-date. And this is what Will has to say. He had to say that the thing he found most attractive about her was that she tried to kill herself. Now that was interesting. Sexy, almost, in a morbid kind of way. Like, what the fuck? He's just a pig. He's gross. Oh, can't wait till he redeems himself. If he does, because I don't know how he can. So far, I am interested in the book, but the character of Will is just pissing me off. It is 11 p.m. and I'm on page 184 of About a Boy. I have like a little over 100 pages left, and I'm really liking it so far. Will is still a jerk, but he's warming up because he's formed a bond with Marcus. Marcus just showed up at his house and wouldn't take no as an answer, and Will was nice enough to buy him shoes and all this stuff. But I feel bad for Marcus because, like, his mom kind of forces her life on his. Like, she's a vegetarian, so he's a vegetarian. She likes this music, so he has to like this music, so he's not really into mainstream music, and, like, he's being bullied, but his mom was like, oh, you'll adjust. But he's not going to because the kids, he's not bonding with the kids because he's not like a normal kid. She won't let him be a kid, kind in the way. And tomorrow I am going camping, which I'm going to read the book that says to read outside, and hopefully my plan is to finish this tonight and then just have 2 more books. It is Saturday, the 25th at 2:30, and I just finished About a Boy. I really liked it. Marcus is such a sweet boy. And he had such like a hard life, not like really hard, but just like, you know, sad things growing up. But things are working out for him. He's getting better, and you know he's gonna be okay. But now we're going to the campsite very soon, and then hopefully I'll be able to read the 2 books that I still need to read. One's very short, so I think that'll be very easy. The other one is like a mystery thriller novel, so I'll know I'll like it. But I don't know how much reading I'll get done while camping and stuff. But I'm up for the challenge. It is 10 o'clock at night, and I'm on page 76 on The Couples Next Door. The couple went to a party at their neighbors next door, and they left their baby alone. They had the monitor with them, and they got back around like 11:30ish, and their baby was disappeared. And of course the cops right away like suspect the parents, which is understandable because you never know. But what I don't like is that the mother has postpartum, which a lot of women go through, and she's taking Zoloft, and right away the cops are like, oh my god, she's taking Zoloft. I take Zoloft. It is a mild antidepressant, and I take it for depression and anxiety, and it's like nothing. But of course they blow it out of proportion and think, oh, she must have done it, which I just hate, because it's like, just put mental illness in a bad light. And you know, she is postpartum, like so many women go through that, and I hate that it's put in a bad light like this. Hopefully I'll get to like maybe 150 pages before I go to bed, but who knows, because I'm camping. I finished my 6th book, The Couple Next Door, at 4 p.m. and now I'm taking a hike, and I switched my last book. I can't remember the name that I was reading, but I switched it to The Witches by Roald Dahl. I saw the movie on Netflix. I want to read the book before I watch that movie, so I thought it was perfect. So I will probably definitely finish the 7 books in the reading rush and completed all my goals. But right now I'm just walking. I just came home from camping. I left around 10:30ish. It's 11:30 now. We made s'mores at the end of the night, and it was really lovely. But I've worked tomorrow, so I had to come home. I'm at like 10 pages left in The Witches. It's 11:30, so I can finish it by midnight, no problem. It is midnight on the 27th. The reading rush is over, and I completed the 7 challenges, each time reading a different book. So I read 7 books this week. Some were very small, so it was easy to read. But I went camping, and so that took up a lot of time, but it was so fun, and I'm so glad I pushed myself and was able to complete the reading rush. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!